funny. I was like, I was waiting for it the whole time. Like, I was like, this is gonna happen. There's no way this doesn't happen. Holy shit, it didn't happen. Man, see, I wanted to do some more, but I don't. Because I have a bunch of 28s that will be 30s, and then, then I'll maybe get 32s, but they'll probably be 31s and 32s, 33, 34. It's just like, oh, God. Like, just fuck that. So I wish I did what Quinn did. Quinn and Wang both did, when that whole duping thing was out. They just got like 60 fucking trial key tokens. Just have like 60 or 70 of them. So, they just have like a shitload of tokens whenever they want them. I was just like, ugh. If I had just saved so many. I came over with a bunch of 28s, and then 28 became like a 20 to me, just super joke. Test your mic. Oh, man. I don't have any shows left to watch. I'm like, a lot of shows. I've been watching like quantum mechanics and physics. Back to all my documentaries again out of boredom. I mean, I have to wait every week for shows now. Like, that's so terrible. Suits on Wednesdays, Naruto on Thursdays, Irregulars Friday, One Piece Saturday, another show like Sunday. It's like, it's not terrible. I'm so used to just watching shows like hours on end, for filling my day. 2-3 hours here, 4 or 5 hours there, 2-3 hours here. And especially now that I actually have nothing to do. Like, I watched since last Thursday. 50. I've watched like 130 episodes in like fuck 6 days. Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, I'm so bored. I didn't play Diablo like at all. I literally got on, did like 3 clitoris and got off. I watched like 50 episodes in one day. Like, I literally got on the computer at like 1 and got off at like 5 a.m. Just did, like 2 seasons one day. Knock it out. Done. That's what happens when you take your child's face and beat it in a wall. You're just a meanie. Nice. Oh, I thought of a new. I told you I thought of a new game, right? I should explain it to you. I actually like this game a little bit better than like my other one. Even though I put all that effort into the other one. I'm actually not gonna swap. I just kind of jotted it down. But it's a really good game idea, in my opinion. So I was watching this show that you would never watch, but it's very interesting. So they basically took the show is like, you know Aladdin the movie, right? So they basically took genies and Aladdin and all that, and kind of different in a different perspective. So it's called Magi, right? And basically, everybody's in this world, and these dungeons come up, and they basically look like giant, leaning tower of Pisa type of things, right? Just big towers like that. And so you traverse these dungeons, and they have all these tasks and all these things you have to do in them to get to the very end. And when you get to the very end, it's called a treasure room. After you've done all these difficulties, beat this, whatever is in there, you've beaten everything, you got to the end treasure room. But there's a genie in. What? Yeah, all right. Okay, but so you get to the end. There's a treasure room, and in the treasure room is a genie, but they don't call them genies. They call them something. They call them jinns. And yeah. So they're jinns. So what they do is you go in there with these magi. There's 3 magi in the world at a time, and their role in the world is they're put there by Solomon, right? You know who Solomon is, right? From ancient, right? Ancient, way back. Like during the time of Alexander's library, and all that stuff was just. It's hard. It's hard to explain who he is if you don't really. Oh man. He's. You ever heard of the term Jedediah? The person Jedediah? Okay. The king of Israel, right? Jedediah? That's Solomon. Solomon was also called Jedediah, and he was the king of Israel, according to the book of something. I forget what it's called. And he's like the son of David, and I forget, yada yada yada, whatever. A long ass time ago, right? So he puts these people out in these 3 magi's out in this world, and their role is to choose the kings that are supposed to rule over this world. And the way you become a king is you traverse these dungeons, and then the jinn asks the magi, who do you want to be king? Who are you putting forth? Or, your God, I can't think of the word. Who's your applicant to be the king, right? And it's like, oh, this person. And so the jinn has specific powers, be fire, lightning, water, wind, yada yada yada. And so the jinn then, there's gold and shit everywhere in the room, but the jinn attaches himself to a vessel on the king, be it a knife, a necklace, a bracelet, whatever. And you get the jinn's powers, right? And so, they can do what's called like equip, where they'll take the sword out and it can just do fire like normal, or they can equip it and they can turn their weapon or their bracelet or whatever into the weapon of that jinn. And then they can do, a half equip, which is half of the armor of the jinn, or a full equip, which is all the armor and the weapon of the jinn that, specifies for wind or water or whatever the jinn is, there for, or what he does. And I was like, man, like you said, like, this would make a really fucking good game. That's what I was saying. I was like, it'd be a really good role-playing game, but, like, I don't know how I'd make it an MMO, like, at all. I haven't really thought about it that much as I thought about, like, how cool would it be to have a game like that where the way, like, take like WoW for instance, the way you progress as you do the dungeons. Well, what if the dungeons instead were okay. So the first dungeon in that series is called the Labyrinth, and I was like, what if every single fucking dungeon was a labyrinth? It was a maze that you had to go through for the trials and all that stuff. But what if they weren't all the same trials? You know what I mean? Like, what if you got in there and you had to do 3 tasks? Like you go through there and you fight, a mini boss, which is, like, and you can choose what path to take. You can take the path of strength, the path of wisdom, and you could go whichever way you want it. And then when you get to the end, the treasure room after you beat the 3 bosses and the gen or whatever, it seemed interesting. So you could have, my idea was you could have, instead of, this boss has these abilities. Well, instead of having 3 bosses to a dungeon, you could have 6. 3 that you have to beat with brute strength. 3 you have to beat with not strength alone. You need intelligence, and of course, one way will give you a little bit better loot than the other way. I know it was interesting in my eyes. How you would ever do that, I have no idea. But you've already beaten a 35. Who cares? Okay, you already beat a 35. Or beat a 35. Beat a 36. Actually, you should carry me. Do that.